All right. Welcome everybody listening to this. Welcome to Sauce Bowl and welcome to Sauce Bowl. My name is Mark Williams, also known as Not Your Father's Pastor. I do like that name a lot. But welcome. I'm glad you guys are joining us. This is just an introduction audio. I wanted to give you guys a couple of blurbs about what Sauce Bowl is about and the new venture that I'm taking on. Um, Essentially, I wanted to have a platform to where a biblical perspective can be shared. And I know that there's literally thousands of Bible podcasts and God podcasts out there. But I thought it would be a cool way to kind of finagle doing it and see if there's another way we can kind of break the mold. Sauce Bowl, I pretty much came up with the name because you know how you're in a restaurant and you get those titanium or steel sauce bowls or whatever, and you can literally dip anything into them. You can make any sauce, you can mix any sauce, this, that, and the third. Well, that's kind of where the idea came from. Now, we're not supposed to mix the Word of God or God with anything or anyone, but I can definitely see how things are derivative of God and come from Him, and how literally everything we have set up on Earth and in society uh, was either maintained by us or perverted by us, you know, uh, when it got handed down from God and everything. So I called it Sauce Bowl because I felt like it'd be a good mix for people to enjoy and listen to and eventually watch. I don't have a camera right now, but we'll get into that. Um, why I started it, what I'm starting it for. I think we went through that. But why I'm personally heading this and hosting this is just because, really, truthfully, I love podcasting, interviewing, and I love giving a different perspective. I love articulating my point about the Bible and stuff like that. Um, and if I didn't have the authority by God, I wouldn't do it. A and B, if I didn't have the wherewithal to like create a space for people to come in and genuinely ask questions, I wouldn't do it either. So there's the why. But as far as what we're doing on this platform, it'll be movie reviews. And when I say movie reviews, it'll be kind of like movie reviews with a biblical perspective. Me and my friends, it's always funny when we go through and we're watching a movie, even in real time with each other, and we start quoting the Bible or saying, what God actually would want out of the situation. Even pulling up scripture or having scripture come to mind or everything like that. So eventually I'll find a way to finagle, some biblical perspective into some of these movies. And I love watching movies. I've also directed a movie before and directed my first feature length film as well. So hopefully that comes out within the next year or so. But yeah, I wouldn't be reviewing the movies if I wasn't actually doing it. That's another thing. Like, um, a lot of the things that I'm gonna commentate on, a lot of the things that I'm gonna, try to review, or a lot of the interviews you're gonna hear, a lot of my takes come from a lot of studying of the Bible, but a lot of questioning it as well. I don't want you guys to sit up here and think like I'm some sort of like super Christian or like got it all figured out, or even being a Pharisee about it. Like a lot of the conversations, a lot of the interviews, a lot of my perspective comes from challenging the Bible, and realizing that God the Almighty wants us to submit to it and submit to Him because that's the best way for us. And if you don't understand that, we'll get into a lot more of that perspective as time goes on. I'll be able to explain my point a lot deeper, because this is just the intro. So, a lot of movie reviews there. The next thing is faith interviews. And when I say that, I really want to have like spiritual leaders. And when I say spiritual, I mean Christian leaders for sure. But I'm not opposed to talking to other religions or talking to other people in religions for that matter. And having a debate, having a discussion or anything like that. I do want to keep the main thing the main thing, and occasionally sprinkle in some contention, because there's enough contention within Christianity and within doctrine anyway to where we have a litany of topics and subjects and concepts to talk about within the Christian brother and sisterhood. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I do want to keep it very niche when it comes to the interviews and everything. They will be long form. They will be audio only right now. I want to get to like 1,000 monthly listeners I don't know exactly where I'll gauge that. Hopefully on Substack. Hopefully everywhere else. There'll be 1,000 on every platform this gets put out. But either way, I'm challenging myself not to buy a camera and just do audio interviews until people genuinely like are listening at that 1,000 person a month level. It's just something I feel that I can attain, and I'm confident in keeping going. And hey, a lot of people feel better when it's just audio, and not video. When people get on video, they start to freeze or they start to think like, oh, like I have to be this way. I must say these things. I got to look at the camera or the camera's looking at me. There's so many people, you know what I mean? So it'll be a little easier bringing on people who might not be in front of the camera or who might be camera shy. But those faith interviews, they're going to consist of me asking them questions, me asking them about their faith, me challenging their faith if need be, and if we have like other people on of different religions, we'll just have that conversation as well. Healthy, spirited conversations, definitely Holy Spirit filled, but at the same time, we don't want people stepping on, God's axioms or doctrine or anything like that. So, but the people that'll come on, they'll be more than respectful, and if not, I'll put like a disclaimer or anything if stuff gets heated. I'll try and refrain from them cussing or whatever. I'll do my best not to cuss, and I feel like that's an attainable goal, like, so, and if it's not, I'll do my best to edit it out, or if I can't, I'll say, hey, this is explicit, this, that, and the third, because sometimes you can't stop it. So that, and then let's see here. The third thing I wanted to talk about were like think pieces. So back in college, I actually played D2 football at Saginaw Valley State University. I was a defensive tackle, but while I was doing that, like I still wanted to like expand and jump out and like actually experience college, not just be a football athlete, student athlete. So I joined the newspaper first. I was also on the PR team, but I'll get to that at a different time. But with the newspaper, um, we are getting paid like what, 5, 6, 7 cents a word, and there was a word limit before you stopped getting paid, if I remember correctly. But that wasn't the cool part to me. The cool part was they allowed you to choose what you wanted to write. Like, we didn't have many writers, so it was a lot of space and a lot of columns to take up. Um, and only certain people had like solidified columns because they had been there, they had done the work, they had relationship built with the editor and everything like that. So I obviously love giving my opinion, or else I wouldn't be on a podcast, right? But I love writing as well, and I felt the opportunity jump at me, to take the newspaper. Connor, yeah, I believe his name is Connor Doyle, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I'll get that corrected. But Connor, he actually, he was like, "Hey man, I like your style. I like the way you articulate yourself. Come join the newspaper, dude." And he was like a couple years older than me in college at that point. So I was like, "Yeah, no, I kind of went under his wing a little bit." And I started writing op-eds. For those who don't know what that is pretty much think pieces on different opinions that you have, or like cultural topics, or literally anything you want to write about. So, I started writing and, started sharing those with people, start putting like, not thumbnails at the time, but like good pictures and everything that people would be able to look at. And I thought that was really fun, even though a lot of people didn't agree, or some people would be like, hey, I don't like the language you're using in there. I like the raw and real aspect, like writing an op ed would be able to give me. So when I say think pieces, it's really like an op ed, but the twist is it'll be like mainly a combination of what I'm studying, anything from the Bible, anything from like what God's been teaching me, anything from what I've been learning or studying, like books I've been reading, faith books, or technology, programming, or movie making, whatever, you name it. And I'm gonna show you guys like how my brain works and like how the Bible structures everything I'm doing, or structures society, or structures anything that I'm talking about in the think pieces. That way, um, I'm keeping that faith aspect first, A, and then B, I'm kind of showing and molding you guys into seeing how God looks at the world as best as I can. Obviously He's perfect, and I'm not going to be perfect in everything, but I think it'll be good, and I think it's important to be able to show people like, hey, like this modern world you see that's so messed up, it's still God's perfect will. He's still in control over it, and there's still a lot of goodness, even though there's a lot of bad going around. You know what I mean? And I wanted to highlight that, the good and the bad and the ugly. So that's what those think pieces are. Yeah, I think it'll be really fun. I think it'll be something that people enjoy and have opinions about and, be able to engage with, like, hey, I didn't like that. I didn't like how you said that. Or thank you, Mark, for like bringing that to air. You might not have been the messenger, but the message was definitely received. So, yeah, I want you guys to have that. So, I'm going to do my best to bring my best. And then the last thing was like synopses of my work, so whether that's like something I'm programming or like something I'm writing or something I'm studying, I'll definitely give you guys a rundown. Sometimes it'll be shorter, sometimes it'll be longer, but just a rundown of what I've been working on, like projects and everything like that. Um, and really give you guys the why behind the what, because a lot of people I see in real life or interact with online, I'll tell them, but like I won't tell them the why. And if I do tell them the why, I won't tell them the what. So the why and the what will both be shown in these synopses, and whether I'm talking about it long form, like on a podcast, or writing about it. I definitely want to share what I'm working on so you guys can keep up. And if you're interested or if you have critiques or something that you'd be able to like show me to help me get better, definitely point that out. Definitely. So that's what that'll be. It's gonna be fun, man. It really is. I can't wait. I'm actually super excited. I'm dog sitting right now, so I got a little Yorkie next to me and everything. Pretty cute. Thank God he's not making a bunch of noise, But he actually just sniffed my shoe. Like his nose is in it right now, so he likes inhaling, my feet fumes. So that's pretty weird. But no, I'm digressing. At the same time, I wanted you guys to get a little blurb and garner a little interest through audio, about what's going on. Yeah, that's why I called the podcast Sauce Bowl, because I want you guys to feel comfortable, and feel like, I'm not just niching people into oblivion, about the Bible and everything like that. I do want people to feel comfortable and safe and ask their questions and everything like that, whether you're commenting on it or sending an email or whatever. But no, I just wanted to be a good environment to where people feel like, hey, I can come to this platform to learn about God in a healthy and respectful way. And if I don't agree with what's being said, I can turn it off. Or Mark is there, or anybody that'll be running the platform at a certain point will be there. And, I feel safe giving them my questions, concerns, or doubts or anything like that. And really getting prayer, really getting resources to help them, get a better perspective on who God is and what He's doing. So that's a little bit about me. That's a little bit about what I'm doing. That's a little bit about where we're going and everything. The next episode, it'll be written and audio form. So more than likely, I'll write out what I'm talking about, and then I'll come back and kind of extrapolate with my voice and everything like that. I'm not gonna read straight from the paper. That'll just feel robotic and everything. But I want to flesh out the ideas on paper before I talk about them, because I do a good job at talking, but as far as articulating my point, the written word is where I go. Talking, I can kind of just float over it, but if it's not long form, you guys aren't gonna get it, and I'm gonna sound silly, and I'll get emails or people in real life will come and tap me on the shoulder like, "Hey, Brian, like what you said," or "You're misrepresenting the Bible," this, that, and the third. So, even though I try and do my best not to do any of that, it still happens. So, yeah. Just thank you guys for bearing with me on that, and thank you guys for being supportive so far, man. Like I love the feedback, and I can't wait to meet all of you and interact and really bring some value to this world. As we're getting into the second half of 2025 and second half of the decade. Really, it's really moving fast since COVID, but we can talk about all that. That's what this platform is for. Yeah. So, thank you. Love you guys. Can't wait to see the reactions and the feedback and everything. And the next episode, we're coming back even stronger. Hopefully, there'll be like an intro and intro music and everything and structure. But I'm not good at like organizing it all the time. I just want to start and tell people about it and then fix the stuff later. So that's what we're doing here. But all right, guys, it's the 15-minute mark. I said I wasn't gonna go over too far, but love you. I'll see you around. Feel free to hit me up. At SauceBowl or at my Substack or at 1mm Mark. That's 1mm Mark. You can also check out my video production page um, at VIDIOHS on YouTube or at 0VIDIOHS on Instagram or at VIDIOHS on X or Twitter, if we still call it. You can also go to videos.com, sign up, and collaborate if you want. Alrighty, guys, we'll talk to you soon.